Overland Park CrossFit, welcome to another Fitness Friday video. This week we are going to talk about this big old machine and talk about GHD sit-ups. So first things first, what we're going to talk about is how to properly position ourselves onto the GHD in order to most effectively do this exercise. Correct way that I'm going to show you kind of the wrong positioning, but when we're on this GHD, you'll notice that when I am seated here, and I'll throw my feet in here for effect. When I'm seated, I have a nice little bend in my knees. My hips are behind the pad, so I'm not sitting up here on top like so. Obviously, my knees are very uncomfortable in this position, but I should be kind of with my hips back behind that pad instead of sitting on top. If you want to think about where your hamstrings meet your butt cheeks, that is about the point at which you want to have most of your weight sitting on those pads. My feet are in, nice and secure. One thing that I hear a lot from people is that they're scared they're going to come out and fall out of that GHD. As long as you don't like dead fish your toes, or you don't let those feet get too close to the outside of those foot pads, I promise you your feet will not come through. You will naturally pull your toes to your shins in order to keep yourself locked in. But even if I relax my feet and I relax my legs, I'm not going anywhere. So don't be concerned about that. As long as everything in that foot pad is nice and locked in and tight, shouldn't be an issue. So I have myself in that good position. Let's take a look real quick at what a bad position looks like. Very sad, don't want to be there. So let's talk about that GHD sit-up. We're in that good position. I have a little bend in my knees. Let's talk about why we have that. When we come back and then pull ourselves up, we're actually not using a whole lot of ab muscles. We are using more of our hip flexors. So those muscles that are right in front of our hips, kind of a little bit of quad, a little bit of hip flexor, deep hip flexor. That is what is driving that movement. So what we want to do when we pull ourselves up is we actually want to push our knees down and kind of think about straightening our legs as high as we can or as strong as we can in order to facilitate that quick kind of pop up. That is going to be key in efficiency and longer, bigger sets of this movement. Now, a couple other things that I want to address before I show you a few good reps is the dizziness factor that some of us feel. So that can be according to two things. One is our breathing pattern, which I'll talk about as we do those reps. And then the other one that I find to be very beneficial is keeping your eyesight locked on something about 45 degrees up in the air. So even when I'm back and down and touching that ground, I am looking at that same spot the entire time. When I come up to touch the pads, still locked in on that spot. Even if it comes out of my sight line should stay the same. That's going to kind of help with our vestibular system if you want to get super sciencey, and not getting that change in direction constantly. That'll keep us out of that dizziness factor. Now, as I do a few reps, let's talk about breathing. So when I come down, I want to have kind of a little bit of a core stabilization. So I will inhale on my way down, and as I pull myself back up, I will exhale. So I'm kind of get the picture. Hopefully you could hear that a little bit. But as I come down, I take that breath in, I brace at the bottom, and then I exhale on the way up, touch the pads, come back down. Again, just like an ab mat sit-up, you can use those arms to throw as leverage. Think about if you ever played soccer or you ever played basketball, that overhead pass, that is the exact same thing you're kind of looking for. We're trying to throw those arms nice and violently, shoot us up, touch those pads, back into that next rep. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. Shoot them my way. If you want to work on some GHD sit-ups and figure out what is perfect for you, set up that personal training session. You can do that with any of us coaches. We'd be more than happy to help you. But with that, you guys have a fantastic weekend.